entertained. So today we're going to talk about the book to movie Devil in a Blue Dress. This book was written by Walter Mosley and it's part of our Black History Month series.
Yes.
And so the screenplay was written by and the movie was directed by
Carl Franklin.
Yes, so that's great that the screenplay was written and directed by the same person.
Finally.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. Lynn, did you want to start with your Devil in a Blue Dress dance or?
Nope, I already did it. It'll come back later.
Okay.
Have an appearance.
All right, so what y'all think?
You better think.
I love that.
The book was a little slow for me. It took me a while to... Yeah, I couldn't grasp the feel of it until halfway through. It was kind of like an auctioneer for a little while, and then it became actually sustenance behind it.
It was the narrator. When I was listening to it, was a little dry, but when I got and was reading the hard copy of it, it kind of flowed a little bit better for me. So yeah, the book was a little slow.
I don't know, because I speed read. I feel as though it moved a little bit faster for me, but I absolutely loved the storyline.
How much do you actually retain when you speed read? Do you know what the story was about?
I retain everything. However, I cannot edit anything because I speed read. So whatever you wrote, if it's close enough, my mind changes it to the word that it's supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
Hence sometimes some confusion in my text messaging.
Yeah, slow that down. Yeah, please, maybe.
We don't want you to be unhungry again.
Inside joke, right? Rhea cannot text message. It takes us 4 days to decipher what she writes. So ridiculous.
They're such haters. Anyway, I loved it.
Love the movie, and I'm just gonna say it. Damn Denzel and Devil in a Blue Dress.
Oh my gosh, he was so cute. The young, I don't know, it just reminded me of back in the day in the old Negro neighborhood. And
It was just in 95.
I know, I was
so
a kid.
I was 10, so did not have any sex appeal towards Denzel.
Oh, no, I don't see the sex appeal, but it just really did bring me back to my younger days, I should say. Not necessarily where I was, but in kindergarten, that's kind of how they was.
All I know
neighbors
is
know each other.
Everybody knows each other. You got the one little off guy, always,
cutting down blueberries trees,
I know, right? Wasn't that crazy? Get off that tree, boy! Get off that tree!
I do remember growing up in a neighborhood like that too.
Oh yeah, where in Northumberland?
Really? No. Richmond. Thank you.
Oh, Richmond.
One word.
Yeah, I thought the movie followed the storyline
Perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a great adaptation. But they describe Daphne Monet a little bit differently in the book.
Well, they said she was beautiful.
They said she looked white, and Jennifer Beals doesn't look white. And I thought they described her with a blondish hair in the book.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm kind of glad that they changed it for her to look a little mixed Creole-ish because it gave that whole trying to hide her identity even more feel to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If she looked absolutely
You related
white,
to her a lot?
I am going to throw something at you with force.
I'm just saying, you felt like you had a connection with her in the book, or?
No, actually I did not, because Lynn is pure Negro. Thank you. My mom's birth certificate says Negro also.
Can you tell your pigmentation at?
Yeah. Such my feet, Jesus. But, like I was saying, I'm glad they made it seem a little more questionable versus how the book described her, that she seemed white.
Yeah, so that's what I was expecting in the movie. I mean, I hear where you're coming from, but I just felt like the way they described her, she didn't look... I'm looking at her in the movie, and I'm like, she looked black to me.
Yeah, she did.
So, that threw me off a little bit.
Well, for the 40s, you think about it was either black or not.
Yeah.
And then if you looked somewhat middle light skin, you were automatically classified differently. Versus 95 when the book or movie came out.
Yeah.
So I think it chose well, but for it to be in the 1940s, she would have been questionably white.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? The couple of things that I didn't necessarily like was Joppy's death.
Whose death?
Joppy.
When Mouse killed him? Mm-hmm. Don't leave me guard nobody then.
That was by far the funniest part.
I mean, the part was funny, but I didn't like how they changed it from the book.
Yeah.
That was a little off to me.
It was a lot off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love
but
that
what they did
scene.
was hilarious.
Right.
That's
your
was
fault.
like, why you didn't want me to kill him? Like, I don't understand.
Watch it.
How am I supposed to help you if I'm out here watching him?
Yeah, that was
I love when he was
hilarious.
like shooting in the car to get like shooting back to where they did. I was like, bruh, where you shooting here? You gonna shoot me in the face too?
Wait, hold up.
He definitely made the movie.
Yeah.
Right. Don Cheadle is
Yes.
freaking amazing. I love him.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of a change, and it was weird how some of the scenes were set up in the book where I felt like Ezekiel was a little bit more in control of what was going on than in the movie. In the movie, other people seemed to control more of what was going on than he did. Mm-hmm. He was a more control, like, you know, in dealing with the officers after the first arrest. He was definitely in complete control over, you know, when they were found at the hotel or whatever of his friend in the woods. Because the book talked about he went to go visit and they stayed in a room hidden that belonged to somebody.
Oh, you're talking about him and Daphne Monet. Okay, yeah.
So that kind of threw me when I was
They
comparing.
were like
to the
hidden in
book.
the back of this
of somebody that he knew.
house.
Yeah, but in the movie it was like they went.
To his house, right?
No, in the movie it was what's his name that took her somewhere and he kidnapped her and took her away. That's not what happened in the book.
Yeah, that was a little bit different.
And then how he found out that Frank was her brother. They even changed that. I'm like, why did you even have to change that? Like, she blurted out and told him in his house when she broke in that was the brother, but in the book, that's not actually how it happened.
It was Mouse that
said it.
It was
Mouse
right?
who was like, I know
because he
y'all.
Called her Ruby and knew her name.
He was like, I knew you when y'all were younger.
Yeah.
And so that kind of, I was like, to me, some things I'm just like,
Why did you change?
What was the purpose? Yeah.
because it didn't make, some things didn't make as much sense to me in the movie as to why he would continue on. Whereas in the book, it was more, he was continuing because he needed to do this. He wanted to know things, but he also had to do this. Where in the movie, there were times when, to me, he could have just walked away and left it.
Right.
But things were
like
dominoes. It were domino effects in the book that made him keep going.
do it. Yeah. In the book, to me, Easy came across as a tough guy. And in the movie, I don't feel like he was tough. Like the episode when he was supposed to go meet DeWitt in Malibu or wherever they were. And the white kids walked up to him because he was talking to the white girl. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh my God, I could snap their necks in a second. You know, like
That's because you heard his inner thoughts.
But true,
book,
but at the same time, DeWitt was saying afterwards, like, why didn't you rough him up? You knew you could have took them out. Like, you know, he was more acting like he really was scared. Like, he wasn't that tough guy that they portrayed him to be in the book.
I didn't necessarily not view him as a tough guy, but I think that we really did lose some things about his inner thoughts, like that we've lost in other movies where I don't know why they couldn't have showed it.
We had sections of his inner thoughts, so why not continue it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I didn't like the way that they portrayed Daphne's boyfriend, because in the book he just seemed more soft and like just devastated because she was gone. And
Oh my
just
gosh,
like
he
a
was
weak
so in
man.
love.
But then in the movie he just seemed a little more hard. Like
Well, like he was barely bothered that she was missing.
right.
Versus the book where it was like devastation.
He was truly in love with her in the book, the way it came across.
But even his interaction with Easy, like in the book, it was a little softer, but in the movie, it was just like, I can give you this, and I don't know. He just came across more snooty.
That's why I said it really, to me, the movie took more away from the control that Ezekiel had. It just made him seem more lower, subservient type person. So that kind of annoyed me a little bit. And then Frank dying.
Frank
died in the book.
Who's Frank?
Frank was the brother.
Daphne's brother.
But Frank did not die in the movie.
Oh,
He
that's
did not.
right. Because they took off and left together.
Yeah, Mouse killed him in the book. And then he wasn't supposed to.
He wasn't supposed to. That's why I was saying the Joppy Frank death
They kind of switched.
was goofy. Because really, honestly, Joppy and Ezekiel were such good friends, and they were still friends. I don't know how that ended up, why they made that switch either.
Yeah.
That her and her brother rode off into the sunset.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody had ever heard from them.
Yeah.
So now Coretta's man, what was his name?
His name in the movie was Dupree.
Okay, so Dupree, when Dupree was like, she's just a Christian woman, and she wasn't nobody fighting. They said she was fighting. She didn't want nobody to have her but me. And Mouse and Ezekiel was sitting at that table. Like Mouse's facial expression was like, bruh, we all done had a piece of it. It was so funny to me.
Yeah, man, drink this. Drink some more of that.
Right. I was like, man, that was so funny.
It was.
Don Cheadle made the movie.
He really did.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he was really good in that movie.
I love. He was like, go in and sit right down there. Go back and sit back down. You heard Ezekiel say, sit down. Like,
you cut the smiley face in your neck. What do you mean you don't need me?
You know what else I thought was weird that they changed in the movie? The whole point of the $30,000 that she had.
Yeah.
I just was like, see, again, that cheapened everything. In the book, she took the money to get just so she could, have a fresh start to get away from him so he wouldn't be found out because, of course, he was so in love with her. She knew that he wouldn't leave her, so she left him. That's kind of how it came across in the book. Right. But then in the movie, the family gave her the money to get out of town and get away from him. I just... I didn't like that.
But they still kept that little child molester mayor who looked just like one. I was like, oh, gross.
Gave me like the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
And then that didn't resurface to correct itself. I mean, in the book, it was kind of a happy ending for the little boy because he was able to give him to his friend who owned the hotel or wherever that he stayed. But in the movie, you never saw that again. So
yeah. Although if you read the more of the Ezekiel series, because Walter Mosley has a whole series with Ezekiel, and then the other books that Ezekiel ends up raising the little boy. So that's what
I thought was going to happen. But
it does happen. Like the later books, he's like you were trying to figure out how he ended up with these kids, and so I think it was like 2 kids or 1 kid or something like that he takes care of. But one of them was the little boy. So I think that little boy ends up going back to him in the later book.
Well, in the book, it kind of you could have gotten that in this first book because his friend was just like, I got somebody in mind that could take care of him. Mm-hmm. But he didn't necessarily say he was giving him to somebody else, so it could have been, whatever that he ended up giving him to Ezekiel.
But I mean, even though there's some changes that
it's minor,
we don't really understand, I just feel like it still followed the storyline. I enjoyed the adaptation.
I think the storyline kind of was followed, but there was just stuff in there. I don't know. I just don't like you taking so much from the black man when you take it to the movies. Like, still give him some of that control.
Keep him his power.
Yeah, and too much of his power was taken away. Like, he was, to me, being thrown around like a rag doll, and that's not necessarily how the book was written.
Okay.
A little emotional about that. I mean, I'm just saying.
But there was a scene in the house where he was about to die when a mouse saved them.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah.
But that happened more than one time with those police officers in the movie.
That's true. Well, they had to embellish. It's got to be entertaining.
I wish they would have kept in the movie that they had in the book when DeWitt kidnapped Daphne. And I think Joppy was at the house too. Like they were raping her or something. I know they said that she was like naked or something. And they, Ezekiel went in there to save her, and they hemmed him up or had him was holding him too. And then Mouse come and just shoot the dude. He was like, "Man, I'm happy." He said, "You have to see Mouse." Like, I'm happy to see you, man. I wish they would have kept. I really wanted to see that part when he saved Easy.
Yeah,
the second time. But yeah.
So, any other comments?
No.
All right, let's head to the casting. What do you think about the cast?
Don Cheadle took the whole movie.
Yes. I liked Coretta too. I'd like Lisa.
But she was very pretty.
Yeah.
I thought she was very pretty. And she did a good job too, yeah.
I'm just wondering what happened to her because we really haven't seen her in much of anything.
No, I haven't either, yeah.
Well, I remember her in Jason's Lyrics, which was a billion years ago.
Oh, Coretta.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You talking about Coretta?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she was also Ally McBeal's best friend, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
But I don't remember her in anything else either.
Yeah, that was like the early 90s.
But I tell you what, man, I cannot think of one show or movie that Don Cheadle played in that he didn't knock out the box.
Exactly.
Oh, true.
Very true.
Because he's my favorite character from this whole movie. If he wasn't in it, I probably would have given this like the worst rating.
I wouldn't have given it the worst rating, but I would have been like, they needed something else added to this movie.
Oh, he definitely made the movie.
Yeah.
He definitely. But I'm sorry, I like Denzel in this movie too.
I like Denzel too, but they tossed him around like a rag doll, which diminished his character. So you had to bring somebody else in there to pop it up.
Well, and he's not animated enough, so they had to have somebody animated to balance off his
That's a good point.
coolness.
Yeah.
I mean, from the moment he came on the screen.
Who don't cheat on? Yeah, I know.
He was like, man, I don't need
Called
your
him
kind
up.
of help.
He called him
What you mean
up.
you don't need my kind of help?
You called, but he called her.
It's in your neck.
Right?
And that's the other thing. I don't remember, unless I somehow missed it in the movie, I don't remember him calling him in the movie.
In the movie?
Yeah, because remember he said, I know exactly who I'm
Yeah.
going to call to help me. But
Right,
it wasn't
he did.
this whole cryptic message that he left with his woman or anything.
Oh, okay.
It just showed him saying, I know exactly who to call.
Oh, that's right. And then he hung up. Yeah.
I thought it showed, you know, your husband. I thought he called his wife and said, your husband there, or give him this message.
I remember that in the book.
That
so
was
for
in the
some
book,
reason,
but
I
that
can't
wasn't
remember
in
that
the movie. That's why I was saying it was so
but I don't know.
weird
Yeah.
how he called him up. But
Yeah. They were scared of the get him out.
Everybody was scared of Miles.
I would have been scared of
he need
Mouse.
to be because he on. He, bye.
Right.
I
Kept
wonder what
this-
Jennifer Beals has been up to, because I mean, she was like Flashdance and that's it, right?
That's where I know her from.
What a feeling.
Yes.
But I don't remember
I've
her in
just seen
anything
that
else. No? Got nothing?
Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Okay.
I happen to agree with Ray on this one.
Daphne was really irrelevant in the movie?
I didn't even recognize her.
No.
Huh?
I didn't even recognize her. I've seen Flashdance a million times, but I didn't recognize her.
I only seen it once, and that was like 3 years ago.
in the book, do you remember how she was started off talking with an accent?
Yes,
Yeah.
I wrote
Yeah.
that down too.
And then in the movie, she had no accent.
well, she
Nelson
wasn't
just dropped
supposed
it.
to. I think she was playing.
Right.
When she first called him, where she really didn't have an accent supposedly in the book anyway. But
Yeah.
she just, I don't know why that even put that in a book. I'm glad they left
Well,
that.
I think because in the book she's pretending to be someone that she's not, where that did not come across in the
At
movie at
all.
all.
Right.
There was no, let me go back to my old lifestyle. I don't want to live this life. I need to go back to being a white girl.
Right.
That all of that was missed in the movie.
I was like, come on now. You know you struggle with your identity all your life. Man, did I love him. All right, well, y'all ready to give this a rating?
Yes.
Well, I am giving it a full glass because I thought the adaptation was fabulous.
I will agree with you there, Treva. I give it a full glass as well. Mainly because of Mouse.
Champagne, I'm going to duplicate what you just said because I give it a full glass because of Mouse.
Yeah.
But it was a good adaptation though. But
It was.
Mouse had me cracking up.
That leaves me. I give it a full glass. I was still mad about certain things, but it gets a full glass for me. It was hilarious. What? We get a full bottle, a full bottle. Oh, what? What are we drinking? We be drinking. We be drinking.
Today we are drinking Sutter Home's Pink Moscato. It's a classic. It's delicious, and we love
So
it.
good. Yes. Full bottle of Sutter Home.
Yeah. Rhea, put the glass down.
Jennifer Beals stars in The L Word.
Really?
Yes. The Generation Q one and the first one. Looks like she's a star in it.
Wow.
She was in the movie Taken. Don't remember her in that.
Taken, she...
And the Book of Eli.
Taken. That's what Liam Neeson.
Oh, wasn't she the blind mother who could read Braille?
I don't know.
And I love both you. I did too.
But then, what was she? What was she, a stripper or something? Taken? I don't know what she... She wasn't the wife.
When is she? Right, the stripper.
Yeah, I know. Like, where did stripper come from?
They got strippers in
Yeah.
Oh, this is actually not the movie. This is the television show.
Oh, okay.
Taken.
Yeah. Which I've never watched, so.
Yeah, I was saying the show The Taken, the movie The Taken, remember they took the girl and were trying to sell her and they had all these
Yeah, the girl
people in
trafficking,
the... Yeah.
But I mean, I watched this show, The L Word, like at least twice. And look, she's like the
preview.
star of that show. Her.
That's amazing. I did not know that was her.
And she's now in the second version of it, which is
Is she old looking?
She actually looks a little like Meghan Markle. Jennifer Beals now.
That tent she got through.
Okay, so she found the alcohol.
Oh.